Good morning. Good morning and welcome. I'm Dan Haug. I'm a member of the Sunday Services Committee. I'm so glad you joined us today, whether in person or at home. In case you missed some announcement slides, just want to reiterate that there is a solstice celebration. In case you don't get enough of it today and want to go out and actually experience it on the day, there's a solstice celebration at Emma McCarthy Lee on Wednesday the 22nd at 5 o'clock. Friday night is going to be our Christmas Eve service, and you can sign up to attend in Fellowship Hall or connect from home. There will not be a service on the following Sunday after Christmas. And then the office is going to be closed from December 24th through January 2nd. There will be, although we won't be having a service next Sunday, Kent will be having a virtual coffee hour if you want to check in and connect with people. We'll be doing that at the regular time we'd have a service. And then one final announcement that our offertory recipient for the month is the Boone Area Humane Society. And please remember after the service to either go online and give, or if you're here in person, to make a contribution in the basket. Okay. So we begin the service with the ringing of the chime 3 times. The first to wake the chime, the second to open our minds, and the third to open our hearts. The words of our chalice lighting are by Ben Sewell. Out of darkness, light. Out of light, warmth. Out of warmth, joy. Out of joy, togetherness. May this flame hold us for this time we are here with one another.
Our opening words this morning are from Anne Sexton's 1975 book, The Awful Rowing Toward God. Welcome morning. There is joy in all, in the hair I brush each morning, in the cannon towel newly washed that I rub my body with each morning, in the chapel of eggs I cook each morning, in the outcry from the kettle that heats my coffee each morning, in the spoon and the chair that cry, "Hello there, Anne," each morning, in the Godhead of the table that I set my silver plate, cup upon each morning. All this is God, right here in my pea green house each morning. And I mean, though I often forget, to give thanks, to faint down by the kitchen table in a prayer of rejoicing as the holy birds at the kitchen window peck at their marriage of seeds. So while I think of it, Let me paint a thank you on my palm for this God, this laughter of the morning, lest it go unspoken. The joy that isn't shared, I've heard, dies young. This morning for our Time for All Ages, I wanted to share one of the joys that I often get to experience, and that is a joy of learning. I had the opportunity to do some learning during the last couple of weeks as I reviewed the causes of the winter solstice. Now I know about how the Earth goes around the sun and the little tilt and some of the features of this, but when I saw this video, I learned something new, and I hope maybe you will too.
Suppose you placed a camera at a fixed position, took a picture of the sky at the same time every day for an entire year, and overlaid all of the photos on top of each other. What would the sun look like in that combined image? A stationary dot? A circular path? Neither. Oddly enough, it makes this figure-8 pattern, known as the sun's analemma. But why? The Earth's movement creates a few cycles. First of all, it rotates on its axis about once every 24 hours, producing sunrises and sunsets. At the same time, it's making a much slower cycle, orbiting around the sun approximately every 365 days. But there's a twist. Relative to the plane of its orbit, the Earth doesn't spin with the North Pole pointing straight up. Instead, its axis has a constant tilt of 23.4 degrees. This is known as the Earth's axial tilt, or obliquity. A 23-degree tilt may not seem important, but it's the main reason that we experience different seasons. Because the axis remains tilted in the same direction while the Earth makes its annual orbit, there are long periods each year when the northern half of the planet remains tilted toward the sun, while the southern half is tilted away, and vice versa, what we experience as summer and winter. During summer, in a given hemisphere, the sun appears higher in the sky, making the days longer and warmer. Once a year, the sun's declination, the angle between the equator and the position on the Earth where the sun appears directly overhead, reaches its maximum. This day is known as the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, and the one day where the sun appears highest in the sky. So the Earth's axial tilt partially explains why the sun changes positions in the sky, and the analemma's length represents the full 46.8 degrees of the sun's declination throughout the year. But why is it a figure 8 and not just a straight line? This is due to another feature of the Earth's revolution, its orbital eccentricity. The Earth's orbit around the sun is an ellipse, with its distance to the sun changing at various points. The corresponding change in gravitational force causes the Earth to move fastest in January, when it reaches its closest point to the sun, the perihelion, and the slowest in July, when it reaches its farthest point, the aphelion. The Earth's eccentricity means that solar noon, the time when the sun is highest in the sky, doesn't always occur at the same point in the day. So a sundial may be as much as 16 minutes ahead or 14 minutes behind a regular clock. In fact, clock time and sun time only match 4 times a year. The analemma's width represents the extent of this deviation. So how did people know the correct time years ago? For most of human history, going by the sun's position was close enough, but during the modern era, the difference between sundials and mechanical clocks became important. The equation of time, introduced by Ptolemy and later refined based on the work of Johann Kepler, converts between apparent solar time and the mean time we've all come to rely on. Globes even used to have the analemma printed on them to allow people to determine the difference between clock time and solar time based on the day of the year. Just how the analemma appears depends upon where you are. It'll be tilted at an angle depending on your latitude, or inverted if you're in the southern hemisphere. And if you're on another planet, you might find something completely different. Depending on that planet's orbital eccentricity and axial tilt, the analemma might appear as a teardrop, oval, or even a straight line.
Always delightful to have the opportunity to learn something new. And that figure eight is beautiful. It reminds me of the infinity symbol as well. So it really felt fitting for this time when we're recognizing the cycles of life. I want to introduce our first special music piece this morning, titled Moonlight Whispers by Wendy Bartle.
Harvest is over, the cold settles in. The nights are getting longer, the chilly winter wind. And I whisper in the moonlight, when will sun return? And I whisper in the moonlight, when will sun return? The animals hibernate, snow may begin. The evergreens listen, nearing solstice again. And I whisper in the moonlight, when will sun return? And I whisper in the moonlight, when will sun return? I sit here and reflect on the year that has passed. My family and friendships, time goes by so fast. And I whisper in the moonlight, when will sun return? And I whisper in the moonlight, when will sun return? There are school plays, there are presents, and zooming with friends. There's church and time to ponder, we look deep within. Then I whisper in the moonlight, when will peace return? Then I whisper in the moonlight, when will light return?
My name is Dan Haug. We are approaching the 2021 winter solstice, the longest night of another long and difficult year. The absence of sunlight and greenery will no doubt affect our moods when we are already feeling weary and anxious. As more people stay inside, we can expect greater spread of flu and new strains of coronavirus. Even the regular change of seasons is disrupted, with 70-degree days and tornadoes in December. How can we open to joy in such times? During my first derecho in August of last year, my neighborhood was without electricity for 5 nights. While not the longest nights of 2020 or the most difficult, they were literally the darkest I have experienced in Ames. But those days and nights were not without joy. Shortly after the storm hit and I'd assessed the damage to my own yard, I grabbed a pair of loppers and wandered out into the neighborhood. I joined my neighbors in clearing streets of debris and moving limbs out of doorways. I commiserated with those suffering a damaged roof or a crushed car. I gave thanks that no one was hurt. There was a joy and ease in these interactions, as if we were having a neighborhood block party and the derecho was the icebreaker. With house and street lights in my neighborhood extinguished for 5 nights, the forgotten stars shone unbelievably bright. I took a lawn chair out into the front yard with my children and laughed in amazement to see the lights of the Perseid meteor shower streak across the sky. These are 2 recipes for finding joy in the darkness. They have always been a part of our traditions at this time of year. One way that we find joy is by coming together. We host gatherings of family and friends. We feast and make merry. We extend our circle by giving generously to those in need and working together to push for a more just society. But this is not always possible. The way my neighborhood came together after the derecho is not the way our state or country responded to the pandemic. I'm not on the front lines of this calamity, but I'm often overwhelmed with feelings of rage, grief, and alienation over the partisan response to masking and vaccines. That collective failure means that for many of us, it is still not safe to gather as we usually do. And for some of us, our gatherings are touched by the grief of loss or estrangement. The second way that we find joy in the darkness is through mindfulness and connection with nature. We seek dark places so that we can better appreciate the light of a bonfire and the gleam of the stars. We savor the cold on our backs and the heat of the fire on our faces and hands. We listen to the crunch of the snow under our feet. We sing songs that connect us to generations past. And in this way, we place our hands on the wheel of the seasons. When my electricity returned, I did not forget those moments, gazing at the night sky. Once my internet was back, I downloaded the Skyview app on my smartphone, and this has given a little technology boost to my appreciation of the outdoors, telling me what it is at that point of light that I'm looking at. I watched the Perseid meteor shower, again in 2021, this time with friends on a camping trip. On evenings last month when I worked a little too late, I could step outside my office and smile to see Saturn visible in a line centered between Venus and Jupiter. I whisper in the moonlight, when will light return? There is light already here, not as abundant as the light of the summer sun, but with a beauty we can only appreciate amid the deep quiet and dark. As we listen to a recording of the fellowship voices singing, "Where is the Light?" take a moment to reflect on what has brought you joy and sustained you during difficult times, because I'll be coming around with a microphone later. Here's the fellowship voices singing "Where is the Light" by Peter Mayer.
When it's late December, dark and cold,
Where is the light?
when old man Year is bending low,
Where is the light?
when the sun runs off to bed too soon,
Where is the light?
and there's nothing but a skinny moon.
Where is the light? Can you tell me?
Where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. When it's dark each morning when I rise,
Where is the light?
and it's dark when my eggs are frying,
Where is the light?
and it's dark when off to work I go,
Where is the light?
and it's dark again when I get home.
Where is the light? Can you tell me?
Where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. It's in my skin and in my bones, in my heart and in my soul. That light of life so bright and golden like a summer day. When the sun goes a-missing in the sky, it is arising in my eyes, chasing all that winter gloom away. And I'm burning bright like kerosene,
Where is the light?
and I'm twinkling like the Pleiades,
Where is the light?
and I'm dancing like a candle flame,
Where is the light?
and I'm flaming like a fruit flambe.
Where is the light?
Can you tell me where is the light? Can you tell me where is the light? Can you tell me where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. Can you tell me where is the light? Can you tell me where is the light? Can you tell me where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. 2, 3, 4. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Okay, we're going to have a little time of sharing now. If you are joining us from home, you can type into your chat box, and Amy is going to read them out loud. And if we miss you, if you have any problems with the chat, you'll have a chance during milestones. And then I'm going to circulate around the hall with a microphone. So think about what brings you joy, what sustains you during dark times, during difficult times, and if you can keep it to a word or a sentence or two. So raise your hand if you have something that brings you joy. For me, it was seeing the stars.
Well, my kids are approaching adulthood, and so I've got a couple more years with 3 kids before they go off to join their own families. I'm Randy Berger from New York. My mother and father are Kay and Roger, and this is my daughter Annie sitting next to me from New York.
Great.
In our neighborhood, we have a beautiful ritual of lighting candles by the sidewalk about this time of year. And tonight's the night that the local neighborhood organization has arranged for us to be outside, and people have little barbecue grill sale fires in their front yards, and lots of candles looking down and down and down for blocks, sparkling in the night.
Wonderful.
Easy. I like music. I'm not a musician at all by any means, but I try to behave that way anyway. So it's just a fun, beautiful heart thing. So that's what I like to hear and do.
Lisa shared online that family and friends and from her 4-year-old playing with toys brings him joy. Kitty Fisher says music brings her joy. Sarah talks about trees, and Robin says the natural world, light, dark, and in between.
The Hanukkah and Christmas and Kwanzaa lights. And I will add the presentation we just saw. It was just beautiful, the light and me.
I'm from Boone, Iowa, and I've lived there for just a couple years. And the first year that I was there, during the pandemic, I was not really socializing much at all and felt lonely. And then I came here and learned about the Romeo group, retired old men eating out. And I started to attend that, and joy has returned to me due to the fellowship that I am able to take part of there.
I find joy just interacting with people and learning more and having a deeper level of conversation with other people.
Carol Barrick mentioned that the voice of a friend on the other side of a cell phone brings her joy because she loves chatting. Sam Wormley says, I love to watch the harvest, hunters, and cold moons.
One thing that brings me joy in Zoom is seeing people's pets. So the puppy licking Sarah's faces and seeing the cats walking across the keyboards always brings a smile to my face.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks for sharing all those things that bring you joy. It warms my heart to hear it too. But we in our community, we come together not just by sharing things that bring us joy, but things that bring us appreciation, things that bring us challenge, and coming together to support ourselves. So now's our milestones.
Yes, so one of the things that does build our community and bring us joy as we meet together is that we share our joys and our sorrows. So if you have a milestone to share today, or you didn't get a chance to share your joy, then please bring that to our milestones conversation today. If you're here with us in Fellowship Hall, you can come up to this microphone and be sure to share your name before sharing your milestone. I'll light a candle for you. And when everybody who was able to attend in person today has had a chance, we'll do our technology switch and bring in our members and friends joining from home.
Well, I'm Kay Berger. Roger is sitting in the back. He didn't want to come up. This is our son, Randy. We've been in with the fellowship since 1972, and Randy was raised here in the fellowship, went through the Sunday school, and this is his daughter, Annie, one of his daughters, Annie, and they're from New York, and we're just so pleased to have them come today and visit us. It's quite a ways for them to come, but we're really pleased. Do you want to say anything? Okay.
I'm Stan Henning, and I'd say this year, after several years of being absent, Kay has made a Christmas pudding in our house. It's a lot of effort, and she's got the strength back to do it now. So we're looking forward to that. And by the way, we light the Christmas pud, and I've got the alcohol at home ready to go.
Our folks who are connecting from home.
All right, folks at home, go ahead.
Hi, this is Chris McClure, and I would like to share that my wife Cynthia is home from the hospital. She spent a few days there, and she's doing much better. So that's it.
I'm Irv Kloss, and I'd like to share something that happened yesterday. I participated in the annual Christmas bird count with Ames people. My friend Wolf Osterreich invited me back to his house for lunch, and then I joined Paul D'Amato in his pickup, and we drove around the roads to see what we could see in the birds. We looked hard for a snowy owl, but didn't see one. But we did see, I think, five red-tailed hawks, and there were quite a few other species too. In fact, Wolf's area, which is area 2 of the circle around Ames, we've got 45 species. So that was pretty good.
Want to? Those milestones left unspoken today.
Yeah, I guess.
Whether you're here in this space or gathered with us in spirit through the wonders of our
I
technology.
can't hear that at all.
These candles are a sign of our connectedness. Let us hold each other together in light and love during a moment of silence.
A fire is burning, the cold night draws near. Need comfort or welcome by here. Look down beneath the stars and toast the past year. For the spirit of solstice is still living here. We'll count all our blessings as the mother lays down, with snow as her blanket covering the ground. Oh, thanks to the mother for the life that she brings. She'll awaken to warm us again in the spring. Oh, count all your blessings, for the cold wind will pass. Oh, share the harvest, and the sun will shine again.
The poor, the hungry, the sick, and the lost. These are our children, no matter the cost. Come near the fire, our harvest will share. For the spirit of solstice is still living there. Count all your blessings, for the cold will pass. Oh, we must share our harvest, for the spirit of solstice is here.
We now invite you to engage with us in a solstice ritual. For in the beginning was the light of the sun, which gave life to all that grows, the plants, the animals, and humans all alike. And the people saw that in the cycle of the seasons, the days grew shorter and colder as the sun seemed to withdraw, and the days grew longer and warmer when the sun began its return. And the people celebrated the day that marked the beginning of that return. December 21st is what we in the northern countries call the winter solstice, and it's a time for reflection on the blessings and challenges of the old year, and a time to prepare our minds and our hearts for the new year.
It is a time, writes Wendell Berry, to know the dark. To go into the dark with a light is to know the light. To know the dark, go dark. Go without sight and find that the dark too blooms and sings and is traveled by dark feet and dark wings.
In the dark, we can begin to let go. As that old year departs, so do its sorrows. Let us silently in our hearts acknowledge and release those sorrows. We forgive those who have hurt or disappointed us. May their offenses be gone with the old year. We ask forgiveness for those we have hurt or disappointed. May we resolve to behave more kindly in the new year. Let us give thanks in our hearts for the blessings of the old year, especially for the people who have enriched our lives.
The dwindling of the sun's light in autumn is a reminder that even as the old year dies, so must all living things. So must we. Many times, like the serpent that sheds its skin, we shed our old selves as we grow into new ones. The winter solstice marks the beginning of this new life, whose growth is symbolized by the waxing of the daylight. For this reason, the celebration in many ancient cultures included the ritual extinguishing of the old fire, symbolized here in this candle, and the rekindling of a new fire.
As the old year passes, repeat after me. May the hurtful be forgotten.
May the hurtful be forgotten.
The good remembered.
The good remembered. The circle of the Yule wreath here symbolizes the wheel of the year, the complete cycle of the 4 seasons, represented by 4 candles. In some older agrarian cultures in the north, people left their fields for the winter and put away their farming tools. They took the wheels from their carts and decorated them with greenery and hung them in their halls as a reminder that it was time to withdraw from the demands of everyday life, a time to turn inward, to acknowledge the feelings of cold and loss, the feelings of fear and longing, to await, in a spirit of hope, the return of the sun, which itself was sometimes called the wheel of the year. Our ancient ancestors believed they played an important role in turning the wheel of the year. They understood that their ritual celebrations helped the seasons to change, encouraged the sun on its journey. Some of them erected great monuments to mark that journey. If we enlightened moderns are too sophisticated for such beliefs, is it not our loss? The same science that shattered those beliefs has made it possible to puncture the protective ozone layer, to pollute the air and water, to plunder our earth, to burn fossil fuels that threaten our future on this planet. Is it not time to return to reverence for the earth, to play our part in caring for it, to engage in the changing of the seasons, and invite transformation as we turn the wheel of the year? At this solstice, the wheel of the year is turning. As we kindle the new fire, we have hope for many blessings in the new year. We turn the wheel, disperse the gloom, call forth the sun from the rich earth womb. We turn the wheel of death and birth. We change the seasons of the earth. We turn the wheel to beckon light. We summon the sun from the womb of night. May the fire of longing in our hearts be a beacon to the fire of the sun, summoning its return.
So won't it be? There is so much to be grateful for in this time of year, and I now invite us to join together in a litany of seasonal blessings. I invite you to respond to each line with the phrase, "Blessed be." For all people on whom the sun shines, whether poor or rich, old or young, wherever they live, whatever they believe, whomever they love. Blessed be. For the music of Yuletide and all who compose and play it.
Blessed be.
For the feast day meal and all who prepare it and all who share it.
Blessed be.
For the carols of Yuletide and those who sing them.
Blessed be.
For snow and ice and sledding and skiing, blessed be. For COVID tests and vaccines and masks and hand sanitizer, blessed be. For warming fires and warming homes, for Yule logs and candles and electricity, blessed be. For evergreen trees and holly and ivy and mistletoe, blessed be. For Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, Belsnickel, Grandfather Frost, Father Christmas, and all the gifts they bring, blessed be. For Demeter and Frigga, St. Lucia, La Befana, the Hopi Spider Woman, and all the gifts they bring, blessed be. For loving families and good friends, blessed be. For infants and puppies and kittens and newborns of every species, blessed be. For a peaceful world for them to grow up in, blessed be. From the winter solstice on, the sun rises higher and higher in the sky. We celebrate the regenerative cycle of the earth and the hibernation of the animals, in the intense energy of the seeds as they germinate. It's a time for us to feel our inner power, to nurture our growing strength, and to rejoice, as our ancient forebears did, in the waxing light. The light we hold is a spark that can sustain those around us, and as the spark spreads, that light grows brighter. Blessed be. There is joy to be found and had. And I love the way that that music becomes contagious. May we all experience some of this joy in the days ahead. Our closing words this morning are from the Reverend Scott Taylor. The title is It's Flung. Joy doesn't simply arise, it flies, it flings. No, it is flung. It is passed, it is spread between you and me, between the one who just received a gift and the one that has been looking for it a long time. It's a beautiful and elegant contagion over which we have more control than we think, if only we share it. If only we notice that joy is not ours to keep, but ours to pass on. So let's light up the world, friends. Joy blesses us with its exuberance, so we can make that blessing grow.
Thank you to everyone who made this service possible. Thanks to our thank you for appreciation. I have a great deal of appreciation for our tech team, Mary Richards and Sam Ozzie.
Yes.
And thanks also to Mark Slagle and Sam Wormley for providing photos. And thanks always to our dedicated staff, Kent, Bradley, and Janelle. Please remember to either go online or find the basket after the service and support our offertory recipients, our church, and all the initiatives that are important to us. And go in peace.